Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Leah and most of my videos are focused on unsolved crimes and mysteries. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back and I thank you very much for your support of my channel. The case we're going to be talking about today is one of the most challenging cases I've ever worked on, and I apologize that I didn't post any videos for a while. This case has just taken up all my attention. It was so complicated. There's so many suspects and everyone in this case has just been acting weird one way or another. And every time I thought I was ready to record my video, a new question popped up and I had to check and go through the trial documents, pictures and statements all over again. It's been very complicated. But I think I'm ready now, and I hope no more questions are gonna pop up. Actually, in this case, I was in close contact with one of my subscribers named Kerstin. She's from Germany. And we have been discussing this case on WhatsApp almost every day. She's been very helpful. So the case we're gonna be talking about today is the murder of Samantha Woll. So if you're ready, let's do this. Samantha Woll was an absolute gorgeous 40-year-old woman living by herself in Detroit, Michigan. Samantha was the board president of the downtown synagogue. She was also known for her political activism, and she worked very hard to unite faith in the Detroit community. She created a Muslim-Jewish Forum of Detroit several years ago, trying to create peace and friendship between the Jewish and the Muslim communities. Samantha was known by family, friends, and colleagues to be very happy, loving, and caring. She didn't care if she had known you all her life or she had only known you for a few days. If you needed support or you needed a friend, you could always count on Samantha. On October 20th, 2023, Samantha was invited to a wedding. It was some of her ex-co-workers that was getting married. When Samantha went to the wedding, she was having the best time of her life. She was laughing, she was talking to everyone, and she was up dancing several times. The groom actually ended up introducing Samantha to his best friend Benjamin. And he told his friend that Samantha was a great person and he should go for it. So Benjamin and Samantha, they were up dancing together several times that night. Before the night ended, Benjamin and Samantha, they exchanged phone numbers. Samantha gave him her number and he called her right there on the spot so she would have his number as well. He didn't notice when or what time Samantha left the wedding. But as far as I know, Samantha, she drove her own car home. According to Samantha's security system, she opened the front door at her house at 12:31 a.m. 1 minute later, at 12:32, the motion sensor in her living room was activated, and at 12:35 she opened the back door. 3 minutes later, at 12:38, she closed the back door, and I believe at this point that Samantha went upstairs, maybe to take a shower and change her clothes from party dress into something more comfortable. Jogging pants, a shirt, a hoodie, and flip-flops. 23 minutes later, at 1:01 a.m., Samantha received a message on her phone telling her that her front door was still open. It was a message from her security system. 2 minutes later, at 1:02, Samantha sent a heart to a man named David Wilkinson. He was called Barney New in her mobile phone. She had nicknamed him Barney, referring to the TV series called How I Met Your Mother. 21 minutes later, at 1:24 a.m., her living room motion sensor shows movement in the living room, indicating that Samantha might have come back downstairs. And from this point on, it gets very confusing. because from when Samantha went back downstairs at 1:24 a.m. and the next 3 hours, there is no movement detected in her living room, and her front door was still open. At 4:20 a.m., again her living room sensor detected movement, and then again at 4:22 a.m. About 6 a.m., Samantha's neighbor Kevin went outside to walk a dog that he was sitting with his wife. He found Samantha lying on the walking path outside the other neighbor's door. She was in a fetal position with her arms bended in a position that both her hands were closed and held under her chin by her neck. She had been stabbed 1 time in the front of her throat, 3 times on the left side of her neck, 2 times in the back of her head in the skull, and 1 time in the upper back on the left side. Samantha was deceased and called to the touch, and there was a trail of the red in drips and footprints from her front door to where she was found. The neighbor Kevin went back to his apartment and put the dog back inside and told his wife to call 911. The 911 operator had questions about the body that Kevin had found. So both Kevin and his wife, they went outside with the operator on the phone. Both of them, they refused to perform CPR because she was cold to the touch, and they had no doubt in their mind that she was deceased and CPR was too late. The police arrived at the scene and pronounced Samantha dead. They covered her with a white sheet and walked into her home. In the entrance area in front of her bathroom door, there was a big pool of the red. There had been movement in the pool of the red, indicating that Samantha had been lying there and tried to get up. There was 2 very red bare feet footprints leading from the hallway into the living room, and there was 1 barefoot print with not so much red leading from in front of the bathroom to the front door and outside. Outside, the footprints were also red, but not as much as the other 2's inside in front of the bathroom. And that indicated that Samantha, she had gotten up from the floor from that pool of the red, and she had walked to her living room with really red feet, and when she walked the opposite direction of the front door, most of the red was gone from her feet, so the prints were not so clear. In her living room, there were drops of the red on the floor, on the couch, and on her flip-flops. On the couch cushions, it was clear that Samantha had been tumbling around, and there were also drips on them. There were also footprints leading in multiple directions. It was very violent and brutal, and it looked like the attacked were motivated by rage. Law enforcement started to investigate and checked street cameras next to Samantha's apartment. A man dressed in all black is walking around the area. They agreed that he was acting very suspicious, and they decided to track his every move back to an apartment in Alexandrine. His name was Michael Jackson Bolanos, and he was 28 years old. On the street camera footage, Michael was seen wearing black sneakers, tight black pants, and a black North Face jacket. When he was interrogated by the police, Michael was caught in one lie after another. First, they asked him about some Cartier sunglasses. Michael explained that he had found them on the ground after a guy he dropped them. He sold them in a pawn shop to make some money. But when the system was checked, it turned out that Michael, he was actually the one that stole those sunglasses. So that was the first lie. When he is asked where he lived, He say that he is homeless and sleeps in his car. That was just until they confronted him with an apartment in Alexandrine. It turns out that Michael was staying with his girlfriend Tiara White, and his clothes, shoes, papers, and other belongings were found in her apartment. So Michael, he lied again. Then he was confronted about stealing cars, breaking into cars, and checking car handles. Michael denied everything and said he's not hitting any cars. That was until they showed him the evidence of him checking car handles, and then Michael, he just spilled the beans about a group of guys that will pay money for cars and information. They communicate on Telegram and on Instagram, and now he admits to checking car handles, taking pictures, making videos, and share locations of these cars that he found. He also admitted to stealing a backpack and a plastic bag full of Halloween candy. So now Michael, he lied again. After that, Michael was confronted about Samantha's body lying on the walking path outside her home. But Michael denied to have seen her or seen anyone else. He didn't see or hear anything in that area besides the security guy driving in a white car. But later, he admits that he did see Samantha's body. He walked over to check if she was okay, and he checked her neck for a pulse. And when he realized that she was deceased, he ran away from the area because he didn't want to call 911. Because he didn't want to get caught stealing cars, breaking into cars, or checking car handles. He said, "I'm a black man standing over a white woman's body. That would definitely not look good." So he ran home and he kept it a secret from his girlfriend as well. But Michael lied again. So now I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on Michael Bolanos. And I want to say straight up now that it's not because I'm contradicting myself, but I have different thoughts and theories about Michael. Some of them indicate that he's innocent. There's some things that was said and done that can be explained. But there's also still some things that was said and done that's still lingering there. I can't find the answers, and I find it strange. When you just look at Michael and listen to him, he seems like a really, really nice guy who was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. But again, when I listened to the interrogation, when he was denying and denying and then denying everything, I actually believed him. He was very convincing. And then after, it came out that he was lying over and over and over and over. And I didn't see that. I actually believed him. And that just broke his credibility, in my opinion. It's the same in your normal everyday life. When you catch someone lying to you, you start questioning every single word that comes out of their mouth. So to start from the beginning, Michael was waiting until it was really late at night and it was dark. He put on completely black clothes and told his girlfriend Tiara that he was gonna go for a walk. Nothing else, just going for a walk. That's what Michael said. But when you look at the surveillance cameras from all the street cameras and you follow him from his house all the way to the parking lot by Samantha's house, I don't see him touching car handles anywhere. But there was some kind of garage where he took a picture and made a video of a car, and he sent it to his girlfriend. She didn't question anything. First she texted him, "Are you okay, babe?" And I was like, why wouldn't he be okay? He was just out for a walk. Or was he meeting some people that wasn't exactly good people? Was she worried that he had been attacked? Or was she worried that he had been caught? But right after that, Michael sent her a video and a picture of a car and a license plate, she doesn't question anything. She knew that he was not just out for a walk. So to me, that just shows that Michael lied again. Because her reply was just, not the Coast Guard. And if you look at this license plate, it says Coast Guard in the top. And she also texts the Texas 2. So is that another car or another license plate? I don't know. But it clearly shows that she knew what he was doing and he was not just out for a walk. Otherwise, she would have been questioning the video and the image that he sent to her. So is his girlfriend part of this criminal ring where they steal cars or break into cars? I have no idea, but she definitely knew he was not just out for a walk. The next thing I want to mention is that when you watch Michael all the way from his house to the parking lot next to the apartment complex where Samantha was found, it looks like he is meeting someone. And it looked like a direct route from his house to that parking lot. It looks like he knew where he was going. I think Michael had been on that parking lot before, and he was meeting some people from that criminal ring there to finish up whatever they did. Maybe he took some pictures and videos, sent it to those bad guys, and they approved it, so they were going there to pick up the car, or whatever they do in that criminal ring. I have no idea. But I definitely don't think that Michael was in that parking lot for the first time. I think he had been there before and he was meeting people there. He was definitely not alone. I don't believe that for a second. And all the way there, Michael is looking over his shoulder all the time. When he meets people, he turns around and walks in a different direction, or he would be hiding. If cars was approaching him, he would also turn around, walk a different direction, or be hiding. He didn't want anyone to see him. Nobody, because he didn't want to be identified while being out doing these kind of things. No evidence, no witnesses, no nothing. It was clearly very important to him because he had been caught twice before, and if he got caught again, he would be in serious trouble. But when he walks into the area where Samantha was found, he said he saw something big, like hiding behind a bush, I believe it was. It could be an intruder, it could be a robber, it could be a homeless person, it could be anything. But at this point, he's not worried. He just approaches that big thing he saw behind the bush to check out what it was. And he sees that it's a person lying there, and he decides to check the pulse of this person. And he said the person was cold to the touch, the skin felt very crusty, which means that the red thing was dry. And if the red thing is dry and crusty, if it's crusty, it's very dry. So how did he get the red thing on his hands? I don't understand that. And another thing is, if he was leaning over her or he was sitting next to her, they said there was a lot of red thing around her body. So why doesn't Michael have any red thing on his shoes? Not at the bottom, not on the top. There was no trace of the red thing on his shoes whatsoever. How is that possible? I don't understand how that is possible. Then when they checked his black North Face jacket, they said they found microscopic drops of the red on his jacket. I think there was 2 in the front and 1 by his pocket. And they also found some of Samantha's red thing on his backpack. And I'm just thinking, if he was leaning over Samantha to check her pulse, wouldn't it be smears of the red thing on his jacket and not drops? Just my opinion. How would it be drops? You know, if you have a drop on a surface and you lean over it, it would be a smear and not a drop. So explain that. I don't understand that. And then when Michael was asked, why did you approach this body on the ground? Why did you approach this person? And he said, because if this is a person in trouble, I'm not gonna deny them help. But that's exactly what he did. He kneeled down or leaned over her or something, touching the neck, and knew something was wrong and ran away. He didn't want to get involved in this in any way. So he is denying this person help. He's not a doctor. He wouldn't know if the person was gone or dying. He didn't know. And maybe you're questioning what could he have done because he didn't want to get caught doing what he was doing to all the cars. He could have turned off the location on his phone. He could have hidden his phone number and called 911 undercover, just saying to them, on this and this address, there's a person that needs serious help right now, but I don't want to get involved in this, and hang up the phone. How hard would that be? Just saying. He's saying, I'm not going to deny a person help. In my opinion, that's exactly what he did. He had no way of knowing that Samantha, she was gone, because she could have been in her last stage before she actually passed away. We don't know that, but he knew she was in deep trouble and he just ran off. In my opinion, he could have called 911 with a hidden number and turn off his location if it was because he didn't want to get caught. It's just my opinion. But I also have to mention this, that at some point Michael was arrested and he was released on November 11th, 2023. And they found it very strange that the day after he was released, Michael went online applying for, I think it was like an emergency passport. So they felt like he was on the run because he was guilty. I don't feel like that at all. Not at all. I think I know why Michael, he was applying for a passport, because he needed to get the heck out of there very fast. If you listen very carefully to the interrogation of Michael, he's in panic. He didn't do this. He keeps saying, I didn't do this. I didn't hurt anyone. And when he is confronted about all the things he did with cars, he's still in a full mode panic. He's like, there's this group of guys that's doing all these things with cars, stealing cars. They are communicating on Telegram, on Instagram, under this and this name. I can give you greenhouses, and greenhouses is like, you know, the green thing that some people smoke. There are houses where these things are sold, and he is telling the police, I can give you the greenhouses. This group of guys, they're also with cars and blah blah blah. In that kind of criminal environment, this would be called a snitch. He would make so many people get in trouble for snitching on them. And when Michael found out that everything he had told the police would come out in public, he knew he had to get the heck out of Detroit. He couldn't stay there anymore, because all these bad guys in that criminal ring he was a part of, they would know that he had told on them. In that kind of environment, the worst thing you can be accused of is being a snitch. You need to leave immediately, because if they get their hands on you, you are in very, very serious trouble. So I don't think Michael applied for that passport the day after because he was guilty of murder. I think he was running because he was now known to be a snitch in a criminal ring. Very, very, very scary. And I actually looked online. This was in November 2023. In May 2024, there was a huge criminal ring caught in Detroit in car theft, breaking into cars. It was a huge criminal ring involving stolen cars, break into cars, everything. And I'm not saying that those people were involved with Michael.
Since August 2023 until today, over 400 vehicles stolen and over $30 million in losses. But a multi-jurisdictional task force arrested 6 criminals.
Anyone who thinks that these are not serious crimes is really uninformed.
So how do these criminals steal so many cars so quickly?
Stealing vehicles with a specialized piece of manufacturer and dealer technology called a ProPad.
It only takes a few minutes before the criminals decode the vehicle's key fob with their stolen ProPad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the old days where you're taking wires and putting them together.
It's very different. Rod Alberts of the Detroit Auto Dealers Association says his group has been meeting with law enforcement as well as city and state officials to try to stop auto thefts from dealerships.
And when you have 200 dealers and throughout the metro area here, you know, logistically located, it makes an easy target for these crime rings.
In fact, 13 states make it a crime for an unauthorized person to even be in possession of a ProPad. And there's a bill in the legislature to add Michigan to that list.
With the younger generation at this point, it's all about money.
Again, $30 million worth of thefts. And the chief is referring to the 6 people arrested. They're between the ages of 18 and 25.
Some of the adults that put them to do these kind of, these kind of thefts are reaping the rewards for that, and the kids aren't getting in as much trouble.
And the Attorney General says there's at least 20 additional suspects out there, including the people that are buying these stolen vehicles. The message to them?
We intend to send you to prison.
The 6 will be arraigned on Friday in this ongoing investigation.
It could just be a coincidence that Michael was telling the police everything in November, and then 7 months later, a huge criminal ring was caught in Detroit. I don't know. It could be completely unrelated. I don't know. I just felt like November 2023, May 2024. It's like 2 pieces of the puzzle coming together. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like I said, it could be a coincidence. The last thing I want to mention about Michael Bolanos for now is that there was a video released from the parking lot where the white car was parked with the tires slashed. And I am still a little bit confused about that video because you can see the white car is elevating up and down like someone is still slashing the tires or working on that car. It's a little bit confusing because the video was recorded inside a vehicle that was driving into that parking lot. If it was a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck, I have no idea. But there's definitely people there, so why would criminals still be working on that white car while law enforcement or ambulances were there? It doesn't really make sense to me. But I did see 3 things in that video that I want to share with you, and like I said, it could be absolutely nothing, because I am still a bit confused about that video. On the right side of the video at some point, you can see a white car driving out from the parking lot. You also at some point see a man in front of the camera. He looks like, I could be wrong, but from the footage, it looks like it's a Korean man or something. Maybe it was the driver from an ambulance or something like that, but he is definitely there. And who it is, why he's there, and if he's just working, I have no idea. But he's there, and I just wanted to point out that he's there, and that white car leaving the parking lot is there as well. But the most important part that I saw is that if you look at that white car and look about 20 meters in front of that white car, there's a man standing there with a headlamp on, and he's wearing what looks like a black and yellow vest or jacket. And when you look at the interrogation with Michael, he has a vest or a jacket that's black and yellow. But if that video is from the same night, it couldn't be Michael standing there with that headlamp on, because he was wearing completely black clothes that night. So who was that guy in a yellow and black jacket with a headlamp about 20 meters away from the white car just watching everything? I have no idea. A month after Samantha Woll was murdered, a 911 operator received a very disturbing call from Samantha's ex-boyfriend, Jeffrey Herbstman. Because of his job as a scientist, he was staying at a hotel in Kalamazoo, and suddenly he started having a full-blown panic attack. He packed all his belongings and put them in his car. He went inside the car and then he called 911. He told them that he might have murdered his ex-girlfriend Samantha Woll, but he didn't remember doing it. The police was dispatched to his location on a parking lot, and the first thing that Jeffrey said when they opened his car door was, "I know I'm in trouble." And then he stepped out of his car, sobbing and hyperventilating. He laid down on the ground, and then he said something to the officer that indicated that this so-called panic attack could be fake and staged.
I'll come around to the other side. Hi, can you open the door? Can you open the door for me?
I know I'm in trouble.
No, you're okay. What's going on? You can stay in the car if you want.
No.
What's going on? What, you think somebody lives there after?
Turn on your body cam, please.
Yeah.
I just reported.
What's going on, sir? What's your name?
I don't remember anything.
What's your name?
Jeffrey Herbstman.
Jeffrey, are you from Kalamazoo?
I'm from Detroit.
Okay. What brings you over to Kalamazoo tonight?
I work in Striker.
Oh, okay. What do you do at Striker?
I'm being a scientist.
He told the officer to turn on her body cam because this was important. Then he said that he might be in danger to other people. "What have I done? What have I done? I swear I don't remember anything," indicating that he murdered Samantha Woll. He said that he is convinced that he might have murdered her. He said he had the motive and the opportunity, and he might be trying to outsmart people. Jeffrey was arrested and taken to the police station, and an officer called up Jeffrey's parents. He told his parents that he had a panic attack and was now in the police station and needed a lawyer. The parents told Jeffrey that they would call one for him, but not once did they ask Jeffrey why he was in the police station or what happened. They already knew.
Hi,
Yeah.
This is Jeff.
Hi, Jeffrey. Where are you?
I had a panic attack and ended up in the Kalamazoo police station.
Okay.
If you could please contact that attorney for me.
Okay. We'll call her right now. Are they holding you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll call the attorney. Are they keeping you overnight, or what are they doing?
I don't know.
Do you need medical assistance right now?
I could use a psychiatrist, yes.
Well, you need to tell them that.
I did.
And what did they say?
They haven't said anything.
Okay. Okay. Alright, well,
You have to wait till tomorrow morning before we can call the attorney.
Yeah, I understand.
What police station are you in Kalamazoo?
The Kalamazoo Public Safety Headquarters.
Can you give me an idea where that is?
No, I don't know. I was driven here.
There's somebody there with you now?
Yes.
And Judge,
Okay.
I guess I'm going to object to this point. I think we went beyond any impeachment or refreshing recollection or whatever this might have been.
So you would agree that you spoke to your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And you told her to call the police. I mean, not police, but I'm sorry, attorney.
Yes.
Okay. You would agree that your mother never asked, what are you being arrested for, right? You'd agree to that, right?
Yes.
Your mother never asked, what are you being detained for, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The officers left the room where Jeffrey was sitting and left him all by himself. And he was seen on camera rocking back and forth in the room, repeating the same words. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose everything. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose everything.
You heard yourself, right? So you heard yourself say, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose everything, right?
Yes.
So you were sitting there thinking about losing your job, right?
Yes.
Because you knew why you were there. Correct? You knew why you was there.
Yes.
And you knew what the consequences of your actions would be. Didn't you?
I knew that sitting in a police station after...
Sir, did you know what the consequences of your actions would be? Yes or no?
Which actions?
Or what led you to sit in that seat and make that comment about losing your job?
Sorry, say that again.
You thought about the actions that led you to sit in that seat on video and make a statement that you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything. You knew what those consequences were, right?
Again, I was having an adverse reaction to the medication. And I was having panic attacks. You can see there that I'm not, in your words, lucid.
You seem pretty lucid to me for you to form a conclusion in your mind that you're going to lose your job. You formed that conclusion, didn't you?
I was panicking, sir.
You formed that conclusion that you're going to lose your job, correct? Right? That you could potentially lose your job. You said that, right?
Yes, I did say that.
And you knew what you were being detained and arrested for, right?
I knew what I had said, yes.
You knew what you were being detained for, right? And arrested for, correct?
I knew what I had said.
After Jeffrey was in contact with his lawyer, he took back his confession and said he was having delusions that night because of his new medication. He also said he had been smoking the green after dinner. Jeffrey explained that he had a very bad depression and was on a lot of medication. He had also been receiving magnetic brain therapy, also known as TMS. It's supposed to help against depression, anxiety, anger management, OCD, schizophrenia, chronic pain, and other disorders as well.
It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. It's currently FDA approved only to treat depression, but doctors say it may prove helpful in a wide range of conditions by rewiring a network of signals in the brain.
What TMS is doing is changing how that network functions, really rebooting the network to improve symptoms of mood, anxiety, and chronic pain.
Which may be why many patients treated for depression also say it helps relieve their pain, raising provocative questions about whether TMS could one day become a viable alternative to opioids.
This is a really transformative kind of therapy, but in medicine there's always the wish to do better, to help more people than what we do now.
But for now, it's made a dramatic difference in Bob's depression.
It provided that kind of jolt to get my brain to start to work again normally.
So Jeffrey said that he was concerned that the magnetic brain therapy combined with all his medication would have triggered all these delusions. When law enforcement went to search Jeffrey's apartment, they found so many different kinds of medication that it's almost hard to believe. They were all over his nightstand next to his bed. They were in the drawer of the nightstand. They were in the kitchen and also in the trunk of his car. They also found a jar and a plastic bag full of magic mushrooms. And he also told the police that he smokes the green. He claims that he's eating the mushrooms to help himself with the depression. The police didn't find anything in the apartment that connected him to the murder of Samantha. Jeffrey agreed to testify in court, and in exchange, the prosecutor granted him immunity so he couldn't be charged with anything criminal with anything he said on the stand. Jeffrey and Samantha had been dating on and off for a year. Samantha was a happy and very successful woman that was loved and admired by so many people. Jeffrey was known to be a bit weird, very reserved and very quiet. He said himself he had a hard time expressing his feelings, and Samantha and Jeffrey would have a lot of communication problems. I personally believe that Samantha was Jeffrey's rock, his savior, his girlfriend, his therapist, his everything. He said himself that when they broke up or they had arguments, he would go to her and apologize and bring her flowers. And there was actually a bouquet of roses found on Samantha's dining table when she was found murdered. Could they have been from Jeffrey? Could this be a case of jealousy? If I can't have her, nobody will. Because Samantha had a lot of admirers. Maybe Jeffrey, he couldn't handle it. I watched Jeffrey during the trial several times. He looks terrified and very nervous, and he definitely does appear a bit creepy and very, very guilty. What do you think? Then we have Paul, Samantha's so-called friend that completely threw her under the bus when he explained how he got the news about her murder. He was told in some kind of newsletter that something horrible had happened in Samantha's apartment and there was a phone number. He called the phone number and asked the woman on the other end what happened and oh my God, what hospital should I go to? And then she said, I'm sorry, but there's no hospital to go to. It would be like reliving that moment all over again, but he is smiling and he doesn't seem upset at all. This was her best friend for 20 years, and he is smiling when he's reliving that moment.
When and how did you learn of Mr. Woll's death?
The place where she lives, or where she lived, because of the police activity that night, sent out an email very, very early in the morning, and a friend of a friend saw it and shared it with me. It wasn't explicit, the message that I received from the place where she lived. It just said something tragic had occurred and then it gave her apartment number. So, but there was a phone number on this notice. So I called up the phone number and I said, that's my friend's apartment. Which hospital is she at? Which hospital is she at? And the woman said, I'm so sorry, there's no hospital for you to go to.
And this would have been the same day that the sort of news broke about her passing?
Yeah, so that was early Saturday morning.
Then we have the neighbor James. He really stood out to me as well. He said that one time Samantha and her friend came to his house looking for a package that belonged to Samantha or her friend. She had asked him if he had her package. Maybe it was a wrong delivery, but he felt like they were accusing him of stealing the package from her porch. When I look at a map, James and Samantha's houses are not really close to each other. So why would Samantha and her friend be looking for a package at James's house? Did they have problems or issues before?
Isn't it also true that you spoke to this officer and you indicated that you saw Miss Woll with a gentleman before, correct? A male?
I believe I had, yes.
Okay. And that person came to your apartment to request to see if you had a package of theirs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you felt that they were accusing you of taking it. You told the officer that, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought it was like a valuable package that had gone missing off their porch, and they thought maybe I had it.
Okay. And you felt that they were accusing you, correct?
There might have been a bit of that.
You told the officer that, correct?
I haven't watched this video, so I don't know. If I said that, you're telling me that I said that?
I'm asking you how you felt. Because obviously you felt a particular way. If you talked to the officer and you told them about an experience...
Yeah, he was like...
Sir.
Sorry.
If you felt a particular way and you explained to an officer about a previous situation, then obviously you felt that way in your heart, correct? When you told the officer, correct?
I think what I said was... I said, no, man, we don't have your package. And he was like looking in my apartment to see if he could see it. It was kind of that vibe.
And you told the officer you felt you were being accused, correct?
Accused by who?
Of the guy.
Of having his package?
Of having the package.
Yeah, kind of like by the way his eyes were like looking in my apartment, you know?
Okay. And you also stated that this guy was doing all the talking, correct? And she didn't say much.
Yeah, I got the impression it was like maybe his package.
Okay. And you also made a comment saying that she seemed, in your opinion, she seemed small as if she didn't say anything. She wasn't saying anything, correct?
Ooh, I don't know if I can answer that. I haven't watched this video, so you're telling me what I said in the video.
I'm telling you how you felt. I'm not asking what you said.
Well, you did just ask what I told the officer.
Okay, you felt that way then. You felt that she was...
Yeah, like, she didn't say anything.
Okay. And you felt the guy was, I guess, doing all the talking a little bit more aggressive than she was, correct?
Yeah, I got the impression it was like an electronic. He was like he had like a package that he wanted, like some electronics that like he thought should have been delivered.
I'm just asking you about the dynamics of the interchange between you and this guy. You felt that, just to be clear, you felt that he came over there and he was somewhat accusing you of taking whatever the package is. Correct?
Just to be clear, man, like this is like way before the murder, like a long time before that. Okay. So my memory of it, I'm just letting you know, my memory isn't that great. So I don't want to say anything that's wrong. But you're asking me what my memory is of it, and my memory is the guy did the talking, and that he thought I had his package, and maybe I brought it in either intentionally or unintentionally.
Okay.
Then we have David Wilkinson, also known as Barney New, in her mobile phone. He was nicknamed after the Barney character from the TV show How I Met Your Mother. I got the impression that they had known each other for about 20 years. They met when David was dating Samantha's sister. They don't mention him much, but he was the last person to get a text from Samantha at 1:02 a.m. She just sent him a heart. There was no text message or nothing, just a red heart. And I think that's a bit strange. Why would she just send a heart and not say anything or text anything? Was he coming over to her apartment that night? Or was he the one that left red roses for her in front of her front door, and the heart was her way of saying thank you for the flowers? Then we have Aaron. He was on the stand and explained that he was seeing Samantha and they had been intimate a few times, but were now just fooling around. That was until Samantha found out that he was married and had 4 children. They decided that now was not the time for them for a relationship, and they both had very busy lives. As far as I understood it, he was a high-level person in the synagogue. Could you imagine the effect and consequences if it came out that they had been seeing each other and he was married. Is it possible that Samantha threatened to tell Aaron's wife about the affair? She had also told a friend that he was very aggressive in his texts, not necessarily in a dangerous way, but it sounded like he was bombarding her with texts and calls. Could the roses be from him? I find it very interesting that the fruit bowl fell over and all the fruit fell out, but right next to the fruit bowl, there was a tall vase with roses. They were still standing. And they also found half a banana on her couch. That makes me think that she made the fruit bowl fall over herself. The last thing I want to mention is the synagogue. The police said that they don't believe this is a hate crime or a political murder. I have been looking at their website and I couldn't believe that they still use videos and pictures of Samantha like advertising for some kind of fundraising in her name. They created this fundraising not even 1 month after Samantha was murdered. But they do say that celebrities are worth more when they are no longer with us. Then I looked through their Facebook and there were 3 posts made about Israel and they were grieving and praying for all the people that had lost their lives. In all 3 posts on Facebook, there is one person liking these posts with an angry smiley, and only on these 3 posts about Israel. The name of this profile is Kevin, and of course I checked the Facebook profile. And of course it's no surprise when I tell you that the Facebook profile is 100% fake. There's no pictures, no friends, no posts, no nothing. 4 days after these posts they were made on Facebook, Samantha was murdered. And in the same period of time there had been several other attacks and home invasions in Jewish homes. It was in other states and countries. So I definitely wouldn't rule out that this had something to do with a hate crime or politics. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think. And I still think there's a lot of loose ends in this case. And I would agree with a lot of people that it was too easy just to say Michael did it and put him away. There's not enough proof, in my opinion, to say that Michael did it at all. And to me, I have to admit that I'm still not accusing anyone of anything. This is all alleged. But I am still leaning on Jeffrey. I definitely am. I would never, ever, in my wildest imagination, think that if I found out that one of my ex-boyfriends had been murdered, I would never give it a thought that maybe I was the one who did it. Would you? No chance. The only reason I can think of that he might be feeling like this is because he's been thinking about it before, and maybe in his medicated state, if it was a medication or the green thing or even mushrooms, he could have snapped in his mind out of jealousy. In my opinion, he has a substance problem. There is too much medication in his possession. In his trunk, in the nightstand, on top of the nightstand, he has mushrooms in jars and plastic bags in his kitchen cabinet. There's medication and substances everywhere in his house and in his car. I think that guy, he has a serious problem with substances. And I also believe there's a reason that he thought that he might have been the one that took Samantha's life. And I also believe that so-called panic attack, it was completely bogus. But if you pay attention, you can see that Jeffrey, he needs witnesses for all of his actions. When he calls 911 and the officer arrives by his car, He asked the officer to turn on her body cam because this is important. He wanted his state of mind to be recorded. And I think it's in case he got caught of the murder, he could go for the insanity plea because he had on recording that he was acting nuts. He also had a bonfire in his house the day after Samantha was murdered, where he invited a lot of people. Again, he needed witnesses to be present while he had a bonfire. Because if Jeffrey could or would be a suspect, it would look very strange that he would have a bonfire in his garden the day after his ex-girlfriend was murdered. But if he invites a lot of people over and say it's like a memorial for Samantha, it's all of a sudden not strange anymore, then it's sweet. It's a nice thing to do. But God only knows why he had a bonfire. What did he burn in that fire? We had no idea, and the police, they didn't even check. I don't believe that Jeffrey was innocent in this. I know what I'm saying sounds like I'm pointing fingers at Jeffrey and saying he's definitely the guy. He's the one who did it. But I'm not. But to be realistic, when you look at all the evidence against him, it doesn't look good. It really, really doesn't look good. Before I end today's video, I wanna post a link down below to another YouTube channel that belongs to a woman named Tracy Lee. She is fighting really, really hard to prove that Michael Bolanos, he didn't do this and he is innocent. And I want to support her, whether Michael is guilty or not, because if she gets a new investigation started, hopefully it's gonna get some answers. And if the answers are gonna be if he's guilty or not guilty, it doesn't matter, the truth will come out. So I want to support her in this. So I'm gonna post a link down below to her Facebook and her YouTube channel. So if you want to support her in her fight for justice for Michael, please click on the link down below. And I also again want to say thank you to Kerstin from Germany. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for everything that you sent to me. It was videos and pictures, and you called me and you texted me, really trying to help me with this investigation. It was so nice working with you, and I hope we can do it again another time. So until the next one, take care and stay safe. Bye!